48 kilometres of the twistiest, toughest roads ever rallied. A legendary stage that will break cars, test drivers to their limits and beyond. And that's just the first morning of Rally Rotorua. It is the land of geysers and mud pools, which is the setting for the Parker NZ International Rally of Rotorua. And it's two rallies in one, as competitors from the Asia Pacific Rally Championship are joined by the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship. But they're all out to beat one man, Bruce Herbert, defending rally champion and leader in the New Zealand champs. Yes, Herbert's 20 points clear of the battle for second place, with Todd Borden just 1 point ahead of Stumpy Holmes. After that, the young charger Richard Mason with 42 points, followed by the wily old fox Lewis Scott on 33 and the ever-present Clinton Anderson on 30. And so it was Malaysian Karamjit Singh, the 2001 Asia Pacific champion, who would lead the rally away. But for Kiwi Possum Born, it would finish right here at the start.
We got held up with some machining bits which put our engine behind, and when they went to tune it last night, it was going to be too lean, the injectors are too small, and basically that means that the engine would fail, and there's no way we want to do those sort of things, you know. So we just have to grin and bear it and move on to the next event.
So a disappointing way for Possum to celebrate his 20th anniversary for Subaru. Kia ora, welcome to the beautiful Bay of Plenty in the tiny township of Motu, home of the mighty Motu stage on the International Rally of Rotorua. And for all the drivers, just surviving this challenge is the main highlight of day one. Starting on the east coast with the service park at Matawai, stages 1 and 2, the mighty Motu. Split in two, but still a gut-crunching 48 Ks. After service, the faster Whakatau stage before a blast through Rotorua, where speeds will top 200 kilometres an hour. Bruce Herbert's dominance of the New Zealand Championship has left the competition floundering, but he stepped up a gear for Rotorua with improvements to the Dynalink Subaru.
We've put new camshafts on it. It's been back on the dyno last week and got good horsepower and torque improvements from where it has been before.
So in terms of the rally, day 1 to day 2, which is a horsepower race and which is all about traction?
Day 1's the traction, that's a Subaru day, and that works really well for us because hopefully we can get a bit of a head start on everybody. Day 2 out in the forest, that's hard work. We've got to go flat out to try and keep it running the midsies.
For Rally Art New Zealand Mitsubishi driver Stumpy Holmes, Rotorua is a chance to enjoy the challenge of surviving the long stages.
We call this rally the Safari of New Zealand. New Zealand's very lucky to have rallies like this, and it's Saturdays is the one where you probably see a lot of cars maybe suffer from punches and running off the road and getting sticks wedged in the front of their cars. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
Italian Nico Calderolda gets a taste of the pace of life on the East Coast as the cars head to the mouth of the Motu River at the start of Stage 1. As defending Asia Pacific champion, it was Karamjit Singh's job to open the stages. He won the Motu stages in 2001 and got off to a fast start. But a blown turbo pipe halfway through Stage 1 meant the car lost power and about a minute of time by the end of Stage 2. So it was up to the Kiwis to show the way. Herbert was on attack right from the start. Only too aware the stages 1 and 2 should suit the Subarus.
4 right 50. 5 right minus 30. 5 left minus opens 180.
So he had to take advantage here to fight off the Mitzi challenge in stages 3 and 4.
4 left minus. 4 right minus. Short 6 left, short 6 right, short 6 left, 4 right, kick minus, keep in, 2 left. Long 4 right, 6 left minus 20, 8 right 120, 3 right, keep in.
Now look from the air, here's our bird's eye view of Brucey, and you can see how he carries speed through the corners with a little understeer, but always keeping the momentum going. Back at the start, Todd Borden was about to blow away all the theory about Mitsubishi being slower on the tight stages.
And 5 crest into 6 left minus 40 and caution 5 right minus tightens to 4. And 4 left minus and 4 right. 3 left, tightens and opens.
Although it wasn't without its moments. First a close encounter with a bridge. Then using all the road twice in this 300-metre stretch.
And 4 right, and short 6 left plus and 80, and caution 2 right. And long 2 left. And 2 right into 1 left. And 4 left.
But he got through and left the competition in his dust, or in the case of the Celadon Hyundai, right off the road, out of contention. Todd was 5.6 seconds in front of Herbert at the end of stage 2. And Herbert's car bore the scars of his effort. What's happened, Bruce? It looks like you've been in the wars.
Have been in the wars a bit, yeah. It's like really slippery there today. Tried to take a bit of time out of us in the first one, and I was trying hard to keep up there. But yeah, we banged a couple of banks, but nothing too bad.
Seems like you've lost the front bumper.
Oh, it's gone, is it? Didn't know.
Borden too had scraped the scenery.
Hey mate, it went good through there, I think. We were fastest through the first section, so hey, we just got into a good rhythm, I think, and I struggled a bit through there. Got lost in notes for a little bit, but that's okay. Hey, every co-driver gets through there without notes. So.
In the best of the rest, Richard Mason continued his championship form, third overall, but 44 seconds behind Borden. Teammate Jeff Argyle had to back off in stage 2 after the car overheated in the tight stuff, and they had to turn off the anti-lag system. But he still managed 4th place New Zealand Championship car, 6th overall behind the Asia Pacific drivers Singh and Rhys Jones.
3-4 right, tightens. 5 left keep in. 5-6 right, increase keep in. 5 left keep in.
Chris West had the Group N Asia Pacific Mitsubishis of Rhys Jones and Nico Calderolda in front of him, but comfortably led New Zealand Group N ahead of Group A cars of Glenn Smith. and the old campaigner Lewis Scott, who admits he's more suited to these longer rallies. The drive of the morning came from Austin Jones in a 92 Impreza, running a budget exchange reconditioned engine, improving power isn't everything. 8th place New Zealand Championship driver. But not so happy the stranded Hyundai WRC of Saladan Maslin.
I was, getting into it, and halfway through I think we had no brakes. So totally no brakes, and just trying to take it out of the stage, still going, trying to drive it, and just up here we had a puncture as well, and we came down this right-hander and just went.
So at the Matawai Service Park, Borden held a lead of 5.6 seconds over Herbert. Mason was 45 seconds back, ahead of Singh in the first of the Asia-Pacific cars. Rhys Jones was just 0.2 seconds in front of Argyle and Italy's Nico Calderola. Welcome back to the Parker NZ Rally Rotorua. Stages 3 and 4, Whakarau and Rakaroa, are a welcome change from the rigours of the Motu and a chance for the Mitsubishi drivers to take some advantage. Todd Borden had a 5-second lead going into the stage, and man, he was on fire. Through one of the notorious Whakarau Fords, he was cutting corners to make up time.
And 3 right, 50. And 4 left. And 4 right minus. And long 3 right. Into a 4 left minus.
Notice the left foot braking to set up the car going into the corners.
And short 5 left minus opens to 6 into a 4 right plus.
And don't be fooled, the drivers may look nice and relaxed behind the wheel, but they are full of concentration because they are going full on, taking it to the limit. And as always, a big surprise can just catch you out.
And 4 left plus and long 3
And
left.
for Borden, a hidden culvert pipe in the grass would prove his undoing.
4 right minus.
The impact ripped out the front subframe, and sadly, his day was over. Just look at the steam coming up out of the engine in just a moment. So Herbert was in the lead and doing what he does best, pushing out to an early lead and making the competition chase him. By the start of stage 4, he was defending a 20-second lead over Mason.
Right, 30, 50, 6 left 50, long 3 left 80, 4 left minus into a 3 right, 10, 3 left tightens, 4 right minus 30.
And he pushed hard, as you can see, aware that Mason had taken 15 seconds out of him on stage 3. And the stage gives us a rare taste of how fast these cars can go, with a top speed of 201 kilometres an hour on the final run to the end of the stage.
Straight over small crest, 300.
Right over here?
Yes, 300. That's finish, 150. 8 right to stop. It's it. Woohoo! It's fast.
Exactly. Jeff Argyle was going better now, having changed the oil at service to try and sort out the overheating problem. He would post 4th place on stages 3 and 4, held 4th overall at the end of day 1.
Kick right to a 6 left tightens, 50. To a caution kick right over crest to a 4 right opens.
But check out the steep drops to the right on the start of Rotorua. One mistake could mean a 100-metre plunge into the valley below.
6 left 50. To a long 5 left, don't cut. 80.
And once again, the end of the stage would produce 200 kilometres of flat-out speed and thrills in the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship.
8 crests. And 7 right over jumps. 150. To a 6-7 crest, keep left. 150. 8 crest to a 7 right.
Stumpy Holmes had a disastrous morning, losing 11 minutes with an electrical fault in the car. 5th fastest in stages 3 and 4 would move him from 40th up to 32nd by day's end. Saturday would be all hard work for this team. If being 45 seconds slower in the Motu than Borden was a worry to Richard Mason, he wasn't showing any signs of it here. He won stage 3 by 19 seconds. Then proceeded to take another 3 seconds off Herbert and Rotorua. So at the last service of the day, for the first time all season, the man to beat, Bruce Herbert, looked a bit worried.
Just anxiously waiting to see what Mason's time is at that last stage. Obviously he went very well in 3 and we only had, I think, 19 or 20 seconds lead going into there, so he made a carve something out of that.
And you've really shown that the international cars aren't any opposition to you.
I was hoping that was going to be the case. I always thought that the New Zealand cars had gone pretty good, and I was hoping that we were going to be out in front of them there.
And those times certainly put a smile on Mason's face.
Going into the last couple of stages sort of suited us, and we knew on recce that it was going to be good. So gave a bit of a push, yeah.
So overall, everything went according to plan for you guys. Survived the Motu, and then... put the pressure on this afternoon.
Yeah, I think that is the big thing, survive the Motu, I like it. Like, other people don't like it. I like it. But, geez, it's hard to keep up with those guys in there, It's quite slippery and they must go really fast to get good times in the array,
Karamjit Singh led Asia Pacific 3rd overall. From Group N leader, Kiwi Asia Pacific driver Rhys Jones. And Austin Jones continued to show great form, 6th overall, 5th New Zealand car in what is a relatively low-budget team.
First time in 2 years we've had new tyres on this car, and that's been a critical factor, It's up my game, it's keeping us online, and I think it's shown a bit of potential of what we have got when you consider this car's, well, it says 1992 on the registration plate there, and we've got a standard engine in that Waiuku Car Spares have supplied us. And, that's played into our game a little bit because of the twistiness of the roads, but that's helped us along the way. I'm sure the big power of those Evos are going to come at me tomorrow, but I'm just going to try and shut the door on them for as long as I can, I hope.
Taranaki's Glenn Smith was 6th New Zealand car, 23 seconds behind Jones, but already 3 minutes and 49 seconds behind the leaders. And Mark Tapper was the first New Zealand Group N production car. He's never done this rally before.
8 left 60. To long 4 left plus 80. 7 left 120. 7 left long 3 right in junction. 60. Group.
right and 4 left plus opens. 60.
Lewis Scott dropped time here with a puncture and was now down in 9th place. Also having problems, Andrew Hawkswood with handling and power problems, leaving him a frustrated 10th overall.
4 right minus, 2 wide, 1 3 right, into long 3 left, top brake forward, 10, 4 left plus, 10 looking right, 4 left, 10.
Now compare the race face of Andrew Hawkswood to the relaxed face of Todd Borden a while ago. Look at Andrew. He's really working hard, fighting to keep the car on the road.
Right minus, long 3.
But Clinton Anderson moved from 16th up to 11th here for the Lower Hutt man. So at the end of day 1, Bruce Herbert was in front 17 seconds, followed by Richard Mason, Singh in 3rd place, a minute 25 behind the first of the Asia Pacific drivers. Then it was Jeff Argyle, followed by the rest, keeping up with the Joneses. Timaru's Chris West lost time when he crashed and punctured.
Chose the wrong tyre again, and through Whakaroa we had a 205 on instead of a 215 and wore out obviously a wee bit quicker, just didn't keep the edge on it, and punctured going through the last one. So 3 minutes.
Day 2, when rain overnight left Park Fume looking more like Lake Rotorua. Holmes's car was taken aside for an FIA technical inspection as the team thought that the TV camera in the car may have caused their day 1 problem. However, the fault was elsewhere in the wiring and the cameras were given a full clearance. And that just left everyone to think about their tyre choice as we head into the pine forests.
No, they'll be slippery as, yeah, it'll be a problem. It'll be a hard day today.
So once again, tyre choice is going to be critical, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, I think everybody be trying to work out what to put on. We haven't absolutely decided yet. We'll see what these first 2 are like and then go from there.
And Richard, it looks like you're prepared for the conditions.
Yeah, it's going to be raining pretty hard today, isn't it?
So what's the attack?
We've grew Datsun tyres. Hopefully they'll work pretty good in the slippery conditions. But at the end of the day, I think it's the same for everybody.
Tyre grooving and getting your pace notes right would be essential to winning here.
The pace notes are always important, but today especially you've got the slippery corners and the don't go wides, and you've really got to sort of be listening and making sure that you're getting your braking points right for the degree of the corner and the distances after the crests, and so very important.
With the roads being more slippery, do you change the notes slightly? Do you modify them?
Luckily in previous years we've had wet rallies, and so we've got slippery corners marked, so we keep them in year to year even if it is dry, just so that we know where we're going to have a problem if it is slippery.
6 stages on day 2, starting in Rotorua with the service park in Kawerau. Stage 6 in the Rotorua Forest, 7 Manawahai and Helicopter Corner, and then a service break before stage 8 Matahina and stage 9 Waiauhau. Another break, then south into the Kaingaroa Forest for the grueling 27 kilometres of pylon, and finishing with Trout Beck Special Stage 11. First place on day 1 had won Herbert 5 bonus points and the first place on the road. It was to be a big advantage on a day which would really test driver ability to the full. As always, Richard Mason looks relaxed. Although he has run second-hand tyres in previous rallies, today was fresh tyres all round, and he'd need them too, 9 seconds behind Herbert. conditions were tough. Mild drizzle at the start for Lewis Scott turned to torrential rain by mid-stage. He was fourth fastest. Looking like a couple of baby-faced assassins, Stumpy Holmes and Gary Cowan had a hell of a mission ahead of them if they were to claw their way back from 32nd place. But they started well, tying with Herbert for first place, 6 minutes, 30.7 seconds. Check this out. It's the stranded car of Rhys Jones, soon to be followed at the same place by Andrew Hawkswood. Jones lost 6 minutes, Hawkswood 3, but then Stumpy has a lucky break crossing the finish line. This is Special Stage 7 Manawahe Helicopter Corner, one of the most famous corners on the New Zealand rally scene. But as you can see, with the wet weather today, the choppers won't be flying, but the cars will be sliding away. So the battle lines were drawn, Herbert in front taking advantage of good roads. Mason and the rest following in his ruts. In Mason's case, he took an entirely novel way out of the corner. Gull was third fastest. And Holmes doing well to be fourth fastest. Now up to 26th place. An amazing comeback. Singh led Asia Pacific, while the efforts of Jones' perfect Scandi flick and Hawkswood with a four-wheel drive power drift showed how hard they were trying to get back into the top 10. Borden had re-entered the rally chasing day 2 bonus points, but a blind turbo ended his rally for good. And Austin Jones's giant killing run would come to an end here with a broken gearbox. Bruce Herbert 17:50.8 won the stage in Manawahe and increased his lead to over 36 seconds from Richard Mason in second, with Jeff Argyle now back in third place. Karamjit Singh in fourth led the Asia Pacific Rally Championship, while Mark Tapper was first in Group N and sixth overall. Now, Karamjit Singh brought a little attention from the local police when he collected a fence. Yes, and he brought it back to Kawerau to show his service crew. Now, the local coppers weren't too impressed with his efforts, and neither were the crew, because they had to work very, very hard just to extract the barbed wire from under the car. Now, you'd think just tapping a fence post is a relatively harmless incident during a rally, but just take a look at how much wire has wrapped itself underneath this car.
I think he's trying to do a bit of farming. He's not used to seeing, the good fence posts here, so he wanted to take one home. And he got the barbed wire all wrapped around the suspension and the drive shaft and took brake lines out. But it was a fairly frontal hit it square on, and it's bent the intercooler back around the engine, but we've got no time to fix that yet, so at the next service we'll change the...
3, 2, 1, go.
Day 2 of the Parker NZ International Rally of Rotorua, and it was turning out to be a real battle. And into the forest stages, you can see here from Bruce Herbert's onboard camera just how much surface water is lying on the road. And this would appear to be conditions suited to narrow mud tyres.
Very long 6 right.
And just look at how Herbert has to fight to keep the car on the road. Herbert was fastest in stage 8, 11 minutes 33.6 seconds, and just 1.7 seconds slower than Argyle on stage 9. So his lead was safe. Teammate Chris West had to charge back through here to try and regain the 1 minute 12. He lost to Group N leader Mark Tapper on day 1. And he was fast. Second fastest on stage 8, fourth on 9. Remember, this is a Group N car. It's got a lot less power than the Group A car of Herbert. But Tapper wasn't going to concede Group N without a fight. Despite a lack of experience on these roads, he was still 26 seconds ahead of West at the end of stage 9.
30. 4 right, 50. And 6 right opens 80. Long 5 left plus 30. And 7 right minus 50. 6 left and 6 right into 4 left plus 150.
Jeff Argyle's day 1 problems were over as he won stage 9 and was now 3rd overall. And Lewis Scott, 3rd on stage 9, was now up to 5th place behind Singh. Glenn Smith was another 50 seconds back in 6th, having passed Tapper. And behind the Tapper-West battle came Mike Turpis in 9th. Clinton Anderson rounded out the top 10. But Stumpy Holmes' gallant charge back through the field was to end here. 10th fastest on stage 8. He was now up to 24th overall when he went off twice in stage 9. They got going, but not for long. And back at Cowardale, Bruce Herbert had time to contemplate a lead of 1 minute and 32 seconds.
Well, Bruce, obviously being first on the road is still a major advantage.
Yeah, huge advantage today, I think.
You've chosen to go on some reasonably wide tyres where others have gone narrow.
Yeah, the difference with being first on the road, I think it's a big gamble, but it seems to be working at the moment.
Now in this next group of stages, a bit longer, any worry about punctures?
We've put some Pirellis on for punch resistance, so hopefully that'll be the case.
Tyre choice was also on the agenda at 5th place Lewis Scott's service.
We've certainly so far today done exactly what we weren't planning on doing. We used mud tyres in that last 2 stages, which I think was probably the right thing to do. And we used narrow tyres than we had planned in the first 2, and that was probably the right thing to do too. So yeah, it's probably a bit of luck involved there, but the trouble is the roads have changed so much than they were like when we reckoned them that it's a wee bit of a guess really.
Now this is stage 10 pylon. It's long, 26 kilometres. It's sometimes incredibly fast. But it must be similar to the Malaysian palm plantations that Karamjit Singh grew up driving on. He won both pylon and stage 11 Troutbeck. And Jeff Argyle was closing in, just 3 seconds behind Singh over the 2 stages. But if this was an attack on Herbert, it was too little too late. He was still 2 minutes and 10 seconds in the lead. There was an incredible battle going on for second Asia-Pacific position, though. Rhys Jones was back up to 12th overall, and he was only 15 seconds behind Andrew Hawkswood. Hawkswood was chasing expat Kiwi Stu Warren in the MRF Evo 7, 30 seconds in front of him. The Auckland Airport WRX was handling better now, but still down on power. And And Hawkswood's effort to wrestle every second out of the road was about to make a big dent in our rally coverage. Yep, that was a camera. And here are its last seconds. Bugger. Mark Tapper lost his lead in Group N here as well. A combination of shocking road conditions and mishearing a pace note sent the Mitsubishi off the road and out of the rally.
The 5 right minus 30, yes. To long 4 right minus 80. Hang on, 5 right. And to long 4 right minus.
So I think Mark would love to scrub that pace note from the list. So Chris West was back in the lead of Group N, but only just.
Well, Chris, luck's probably not the right word here, but with Mark Tapper stuck off the road, you still hold your Group N lead.
Yeah, like today's just been probably worse than yesterday, actually. We've, the first this morning we struggled. The position on the road hasn't helped at all. Running 19 on the road, we just struggled all day. But unfortunately, it's the last stage we've run wide on a 4 right and popped the 2 tyres off. And obviously, with 1 spare, we've just managed to just drive back with the left rear on the rim.
So after special stage 11 Troutbeck, Bruce Herbert's lead now extended to 2 minutes and 10 seconds over Richard Mason, with Argyle third, Singh still first in Asia Pacific, 4th overall, while Chris West was now first in Group N in the top 7. Day 3 of the rally was cloudy, but finally the rain had gone. The stages would run south of Rotorua in 2 blocks of 3. They'd do Bryce twice, 12 and 15, Parsons 13 and 16, and Totara 14 and 17, all on good fast public roads. The third and final leg of the Parker NZ International Rally of Rotorua is a simple case of follow the leader. Manawatu's Bruce Herbert starts today with a huge lead. And hopefully we'll do a lot better than the O car. Yes, and that man from the Manawatu was certainly on a mission. Bruce Herbert and Rob Ryan started the day with a lead of 2 minutes and 10 seconds over Richard Mason. And they were heading for a 4th Rotorua Rally victory, quite possibly looking at cementing the New Zealand Championship. Herbert didn't need to take chances, but over the first 3 stages, his lead only dropped by 12 seconds to Mason, setting up a cruise home to the finish.
80. Long 6 right. 100.
Richard Mason could only hope that Herbert would puncture or crash. He won all 3 stages in the morning and looked like he'd have to settle for second. With teammate Jeff Argyle in third, it looked like the Parker NZ team would at least have 2 cars on the podium at the end of 3 very tough days. Both Argyle and Mason are looking on form to challenge Herbert at the next round, Hawke's Bay, on election day. And the rally fans, yes, the crowd finally got to see the Hyundai WRC of Saladin Maslin, who managed to finish all the day stages in spectacular style. Amazingly, just 10 New Zealand Championship cars finished the rally. Sir Rex Visible gained some valuable points, 25th overall in the top 10 for the Championship cars, but 53 minutes down on Bruce Herbert. Next in 19th overall and 9th New Zealand competitor was Jeff Newton. He was 22 minutes behind Bruce Herbert. Kerry Evans got into the top 15, 8th New Zealand competitor, only 14 minutes and 42 seconds behind the Manawatu man, while Deborah Kibble, 12th overall, 7th New Zealand champ cars, and 5th in Group N. Hawkswood finished 9th overall. That's not a bad effort after a tough weekend inside the top 10. 6th of the New Zealand Championship cars, but he missed out on the battle with Jones for 3rd in the Asia Pacific Championship. Still, the points would move him up to 6th overall in the AP Championship as he heads off to Japan for the next round. Kerry's Rhys Jones teamed up with his co-driver Jeff Judd. He gets another Asia Pacific podium place, scored 8th overall. And it should have been a great result for Clinton Anderson, 6th car in the New Zealand Championship, but his cam belt broke on the way back to Rotorua after he had finished the rally. He had to retire, and that is very tough luck. So 7th place went to Stu Warren, 2nd in the Asia Pacific Rally Championship in the MRF Evo 7. It's been a tough weekend for Chris West, but he was 1st in Group N, and that was great reward too, 6th overall, and it set up a dynamite Dynalink double for Subaru. Congratulations, Chris, 1st in Group N.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's certainly been a long weekend, and you know, it just pays to keep in there and to keep attacking, and that's what we did. You know, it didn't get us down with the puncher. They're losing that 3 minutes. We just, you know, went hard yesterday, and yeah, it's paid off. Everyone's had their wee problems, and we can be happier.
5th overall, 4th New Zealand Championship car for Glenn Smith and his co-driver Colin Smith. Another good result for the team. And Lewis Scott and Jane Black showing experience does matter, showing that the 3-day rally format really suits them. 4th overall, 3rd of the New Zealand Championship cars. And apart from the blown turbo pipe, which had no boost on day 1, and then the fence incident on day 2, Proton's Karamjit Singh had a great run. 1st of the Asia Pacific cars, 3rd overall. The real drama story of the final day belongs sadly to Masterton's Richard Mason. He'd put in a fantastic drive on the fast-flowing roads, but his car gave up the ghost just 2 kilometres from the finish on the very last stage. His engine, wouldn't you know it, lost power.
It just came around a corner and the engine died. I think it's probably crank angle sensor or something like that, electrical. Just stopped on the spot, basically.
30.
So that meant his teammate Jeff Argyle got a real surprise as he came around the corner, only to see his teammate parked on the side of the road when he should have been at the finish. And that meant mixed emotions for the team boss. He had now moved up to 2nd, but he knew that the young star had missed out on a podium finish and the team had missed out on a 2-3 finish.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, that will be us for 2nd. Unfortunately for Richard, he's put on a good display at this rally, so he'll be just about heartbroken, I would say.
But for the 4th year in a row, the story of the Rally of Rotorua belonged to the man to beat, Manawatu's Bruce Herbert. He drove the perfect 3-day rally, grabbed the lead on day 1, made them pay for it on day 2 when he built up such a huge advantage. Day 3 was just elementary, dear Bruce, a cruise home to the finish. Victory number 4 in Rotorua and the 3rd on the road in the Parker NZ New Zealand Championship.
6 left long, 250. Well done. Cheers.
Yes, time to celebrate a superb team effort for the Dynalink Subaru team, 1st in Group A and in Group N.
Congratulations, Brucey, 4 in a row.
Excellent, absolutely excellent, just unbelievable, just great.
How did this win compare with the other 4?
The other 3, like they're all hard. It's been a hard old day today. Like he's been taking time off us all day and couldn't make a mistake and just had to hang in there.
And yes, that's the key to victory for Bruce Herbert, not just having a top co-driver in Rob Ryan with new boots, A car that was basically totally rebuilt for the rally, but also a damn good team.
What's the key been?
Key being is car preparation. I think it's just that much better. The boys do a wonderful job of presenting me with a car that's just immaculate and has always kept immaculate, and I always know I can trust it to do the job.
Been such a dominant performance, it's hard to see how anyone could come close to you in the New Zealand Championship now.
Was big-headed from the start. We want to have it won by Hawke's Bay, and so we can go and have a go at the international guys at Rally New Zealand. Otherwise you find yourself having to back off and think about the championship. We really want to give it a go in there.
So the wettest international rally of Rotorua on record was also the sweetest for Bruce Herbert. He won by 2 minutes and 27 seconds from Jeff Argyle, a very surprise second-place getter. Karamjit Singh, third overall, first in Asia-Pacific, followed by Lewis Scott in fourth, Glenn Smith in fifth, Chris West, sixth overall, first in Group N, and then the battle between the other Asia-Pacific drivers, Stu Warren, seventh, followed by Rhys Jones in eighth, second and third, Hawkswood coming home ninth, with Deborah Kibble, the first of the women drivers, in 12th overall. So after 3 rounds of the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship, Bruce Herbert has won all 3 rounds and has a huge lead with 120 points, 61 points in front of Lewis Scott second, with Todd Borden in third, followed by Stumpy Holmes and Jeff Argyle. And the battle for Group A is basically the same. Battling Bruce out there in front with 120 points, followed by Lewis Scott. But there's a real battle for third in that particular Group A classification, with 4 drivers separated by only 2 seconds. In Group N, Chris West now has the lead, with Deborah Kibble moving up to second, and the DNF has cost Mark Tapper big time, dropping him back to third. And in the Junior Drivers' Championship, Richard Mason still leads, even though he failed to finish in Rotorua.
One more time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with your hands together.
So he's won it twice driving an Evo, now he's won it twice driving a Subaru Impreza. The very impressive team of Bruce Herbert and Rob Ryan from Manawatu, winners for the 4th year in a row of the Parker NZ International Rally of Rotorua.
On the hills of Otago.